we've already had some conservative Tea Party rallies, but this is it tended to be the biggest coordinated series of Tea Party rallies, I guess, on tax day.
Yeah, on April 15th, there are going to be, it looks to be perhaps even thousands of these Tea Parties in little, communities and big cities and everything in between all across America. And, Red State today had a post up about it. Interestingly, Michelle Malkin had an interesting piece about Acorn potentially infiltrating these things. Now, it's funny.
What does that mean? How do you infiltrate?
I think that what will happen is, a couple things. One, clearly there will be liberals who show up for whatever reason, whether it's to just...
Well, it's a good show.
Yeah. I also think, though, the other thing that... And by the way, if you read Michelle Malkin's piece, this rumor of Acorn, there's a link to it, which leads to a link about it, which leads to a link by some lady named Kiki. So it's not really backed up by anything other than somebody saying that I guess they heard that Acorn is going to infiltrate them. Now, the truth is, I have absolutely no doubt Acorn will do this, or some people who are part of Acorn or whatever will be there. But I think the other part of Malkin's point, which I think is perhaps more relevant, is that there will be an attempt by the left, liberal bloggers, whatever, to sort of diminish or mock these Tea Parties. I think that's probably the more...
Well, I think that's already started.
Yeah, it has.
As I would say, any liberal protest during the Bush era, I think, was roundly mocked on the right from the get-go.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing. Obviously, this is an example of people getting together. What's really exciting, though, I tell you, from a conservative perspective, is the grassroots nature of this. And in some ways, it's difficult to keep track of who's going to be attending, because there's some bloggers helping organize it. There's a few national organizations who are helping put it together, but it truly is an organic thing that isn't being a top-down thing. So we'll have to see what happens, but it's going to be very interesting.
Is there a message to these rallies? I mean, is it just that we hate everything that's going on, or is there a focus to this? Is there a specific thing that they are trying to accomplish?
That's a good question. I think that in some ways the message is unclear. I do think that the one thing, obviously, is the stimulus. I guess the Rick Santelli CNBC rant was one of the not necessarily the thing that fueled this, but one of the things that sort of ignited this grassroots passion and this movement. And so it does seem like probably the most important thing is this sort of spending and rejection of the spending. But I think some people who are going because they care about gun rights or whatever. So it will be interesting to hear what's said. If I were Move On or if I were Acorn, I would go and tape everything that's said, from the lectern, because let's face facts. I mean, there's going to be a lot of local celebrities, local radio hosts from my hometown of Frederick, Maryland, or Fargo, North Dakota, whom you never know what they might say. And I guarantee you that somebody in some town will say something radical, and that will be on the Daily Kos or whatever. Maybe even MSNBC.
if you're going to have liberals there with handheld cameras trying to catch something.
Right.